What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. If you're watching and I look tired, it's because I am, but it's in a very good way. Been traveling, and I'll tell you all about that. Also, what we're going to cover today is Manchester, an all Manchester FA Cup final is in the books for June. So locking that in, we'll be checking that out. Manchester United versus Man City. So we had the semifinals at Wembley this weekend. We'll talk about that. We're going to go down the tables and talk about where everybody's at in the Premier League, the results, who's been fired, uh, who's holding on to their job, who's going to get uh, relegated, who's going to finish top four. And yeah, we'll get into it all. I think this might be a solo podcast. Haven't done one of those in a while. Neil's in India. Lee was finishing up a gig late. I was at Coachella after coming back from Costa Rica, and I've just been traveling. And it's Costa Rica, not Costa Rico. But yeah, I went to a friend's wedding in Costa Rica, and let me just say this: Costa Rica is the hardest Duolingo lesson I've ever taken. Like, yeah, I need more time on the app. This is going to take a minute for me to get this language down. Just knowing Buenos Dias ain't cutting it. I'm going to need to know more. So, yeah, I will be working on that. I'll get on the app exactly after this. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're listening on any audio platform, please leave a rating and and give me some stars if you like what you hear. And if you're watching on YouTube, uh, like and subscribe, and tell people about this Soccer Comic Rant. We've been doing this for a minute. We got some really good comics who know the game and know what they're talking about. And it's fun to make fun of people when they lose. Like, I will be bringing up Spurs 6-1 ass whooping at the hands of Newcastle at some point in this podcast to taunt Martin. But before that, I got to be honest. I didn't get a chance to watch the games. I've seen all the highlights of all the games, but after coming back from Costa Rica, I was at Coachella. And normally, I'm on the road on the weekends anyway, so I would go to bed late and wake up mad early to check the games and not sleep on the weekends, just so I get a chance to watch all the games and give you all my thoughts and rundown of them. But this weekend, I was in Coachella, and I don't know how many of y'all have ever been to the music festival, but it's a grueling fun event. Like, there is so much walking from one stage to the next. And there's like 7 stages. I think they added more stages now. And I'm trying to get my money's worth. I paid a few hundred for these tickets. I need to see these bands, and I need to link up with people. And like, I got so many steps in, I haven't even checked them because I'm afraid that if I check them, my phone would die counting how many steps I did. But that's the type of weekend this was. And it was fun. It was fun as hell. I saw a lot of new bands, and there's some really good artists out there, and it's amazing to see them live. So that kind of got in the way of soccer this weekend. So that's why we're going to take a different approach and just run down the table, talk about where everybody's at, and also talk about the firing of Stellini and, losing 6-1. You know what? I'll come back to that. Let me start at the top of the table. But before that, let me actually check my steps. I'm going to go to the health app and see what exactly is up. Because I'm curious myself now that I mentioned it. And Let me see. Oh, here it is, the health app. The thing that counts what you do. View history, exercise history, Sunday. So Sunday said I walked for what? A mile. Impossible. Well, they say Sunday I walked for an hour. No. This is the here. Where is the right thing here? Am I in the right? So it said yesterday I walked 1.25 miles. And the day before, almost a mile. That was, and then the day after that was 1.42 miles. So it's a lot of steps, y'all. It's still less than I expected. I thought it was going to tell me I covered the globe, but all right. If you want to be disrespectful, not give me all my steps, then fine. Yesterday, I walked for an hour and 17 minutes and 39 seconds. That's how much walking I did. I did a lot of walking, y'all. Like I said, it's a grueling festival. You got to be ready for it physically. And your boy was. I did it. So back to soccer. I'm going to pull up the Premier League here, the standings and everything. And let's go. So Arsenal is at the top of the table. And we all know that they tied again this weekend and dropped points versus Southampton. Southampton. Also, I don't want to say you're blowing this, but listen, first of all, you can't blow something you don't have. Like, there's 38 games in the season. And yes, Arsenal has led the table for most of the season, but that doesn't guarantee that they deserve the title. The rest of the matches have to be played. You know what I mean? And you can't give them a title and take it away from them when they never had it in the first place. So yeah, they're dropping points, but does this mean they're choking? No. And especially for Arsenal, they're way ahead of their schedule. So they're not choking. They're learning how to deal with pressure by failing to deal with pressure, which will prepare them better for future seasons for those younger players in order for them to win a title. If this was 2 years from now and they didn't win a title, like in this way, when they have more experience, I would say they're blowing it. But this is just the natural course of things. All the players are young, early 20s. Arteta, brand new coach, and you just have to grow sometimes, and you can't skip growth steps. So I would never say Arsenal's choking. They're way ahead of schedule, and they made us feel like they had this in the bag. Even though I got to be honest, for me, I never said they had it. I would know if Arsenal is going to be at the champs. If they're going to be the champions of the Premier League, I will know at the end of the season when they are the champions of the Premier League. I know they have a very experienced team chasing them from behind, Man City. And so you just got to wait. And Arsenal, yeah, they still have a chance. They have a 5-point lead, but Man City, who is right behind them, has 2 games in hand. And there's something else I want to say. I hope I don't forget to say this. Yes, when I was talking to Lee about this game, in which he had no faith in Southampton, when I was talking to him, I said, wouldn't it be ironic if Theo Walcott, who never won a Premier League title with Arsenal when he played for them, helped to stop them from winning a Premier League title in this game, and he showed it. He scored, and yeah, his goal is a part of the reason why Arsenal dropped points. So, but listen, it's not like he's just scoring to hurt Arsenal for any old club. He started at Southampton, and he doesn't want to go down and get relegated either. You know, he wants us to remain a Premier League player. So he scored against Arsenal, his second old team, for his oldest old team, Southampton. So I don't know if Southampton stands a chance still. They're only 4 points away from safety. But we'll talk about that more when we get way down to that part of the table to discuss that. Man City, they didn't play this weekend. They had a game in the FA Cup, and they beat Sheffield United, former Premier League team, and they beat them 3-0, and they're in the FA Cup final, as I spoke about earlier, versus Man United. So that's a big match coming up in June. But I'm sure Pep and all the boys loved their result versus Sheffield, but they really loved Arsenal dropping points. I wonder which game they enjoyed more. If you're a Man City fan, Pep, or any of the players, which game did you enjoy more? The one you played against Sheffield, or the one Arsenal played against Southampton dropping points? Another thing that I also brought up in a conversation / podcast with Lee, we were talking about how good Arsenal has been. And then right before this 3-game drawing slide or dropping point slide, I mentioned that Arsenal had a situation just like this last season where they're ahead of Spurs in the table. They're doing well. They're going to get top 4. And out of nowhere, they lost 3 games in a row. And I said, this is pretty much the same Arsenal team, and this could be possible this season. And they duplicated it, not by losing, but by dropping points 3 games in a row. There's a big game against Man City midweek, which will give us more bearing on how the season is going to go for Arsenal or for City. And yes, so that is going to be one of the biggest Premier League matches of the season. Excited, can't wait to watch. And man, who's going to win this? Let me see where the game is being played. I think it's at, let me see. It's crazy. There's games tomorrow. It's at Man City, 12 p.m. LA time. So, whew, that's going to be a match. Who do y'all think could win it? Man City, Man City, I said Man United, Arsenal. Who? Because if Arsenal is definitely feeling the pressure, and can they? And then they're feeling the pressure. They're not even played. They haven't played Man City. They're feeling it. In the middle of games with Southampton, So how are they not going to feel it in a game against the person or the team that's applying the pressure? This is going to be very interesting. And can't wait to check that match out. I do want Arsenal to win the title just because why would I want Man City to win another one? They're also close to accomplishing a treble. So, yeah. I want Arsenal to win. And it's just, yeah, I want Arsenal to win. Let's mix this stuff up. Just one team winning all the time. I was kind of bored when Man United was winning all the time, to be honest. I wouldn't have said it out loud, but I got to admit it. Like, we were just winning all the time. It's just like, yeah, it just gets boring. Now I appreciate winning something more because we haven't had a title in a long time. So, yeah, Arsenal, do your thing. Because Man City, sure, is like I said, Man City has been winning lately, but they've been winning so convincingly that they're in better form. This is the form that they enter the last segment of the season with. And this is the form that usually helps them to win titles, trophies, and yeah, they're definitely in it now. Players like Grealish are clicking, Haaland's been clicking and re-clicked, De Bruyne, Gundogan, and you saw what they did to Bayern Munich, Upamecano. They made Upamecano get a terrible nickname, Upon Maguire. Like, he may never play for Bayern again. They've given Tuchel 2 losses in his first 4 games as Bayern head coach. Like, Man City could cause Tuchel to get fired 4 games after he's joined Bayern. That's the mission Man City's on. So we'll see what happens. So Man City's second with 70 points. We go to Newcastle. They're third with 59 points. And they dismantled Spurs this weekend, 6-1. Game was over 20 minutes in. I think it was 4-0 at least 20 minutes in, maybe 5. Wilcock passes, Joe Linton, Murphy scoring 2, a brace. So happy for Murphy. Like, there's players on this team for Newcastle that you think would have been gone once they got that Saudi money. But Eddie Howe is such a good coach. He's coached them up to being on the level, and they're still there. And that might be a problem that I'll talk about later. Boom, there he goes. I've just admitted Neil Chakravarty, stand-up comic, to the chat. What's up, fam? Let me see if you can hear me.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, cool.
What time is it there?
It's 5:40 in the morning.
Sorry, man. All I can tell you is it's 5:11 here.
Oh, damn. Wait. Oh, okay.
I'm in LA. Yeah.
Oh, you're in the.
So that's weird. So it's the first time I've been, there's a time difference in a country that I've realized that is not on the hour. Like, you're a half,
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, it's 5:30, it's 5 o'clock here, and it's 5:30 there. Like,
yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, it's 12 and a half. So that it's kind of convenient in the sense that we always know it's 12 hours and you take away half an hour.
oh, okay. So all right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you feeling? Besides tired.
No, I'm actually good. It's been pretty relaxing actually so far. It's just been family and doing a whole bunch of stuff. I'm trying to like get into the gym a little bit because I've been eating so much. But apart from that, it's been pretty normal.
Uh, is,
There's
is there like a local gym you got to sign up for the time you're there? Are you in one spot? Are you
yeah,
traveling?
yeah, like the place where my parents stay, like the whole the complex, the apartments and stuff. They have their own gym. But apparently, I need to go through the whole registration process for that. Like I needed to send in a passport size photo. When I was in San Diego, I was like, man, Dad, I need this. Like the moment I get there, I need this. He's
That's a
like, it's the whole thing. I'm like, what's going on? This is like, is this something official? Like, do I need to contact the government? It's crazy.
it was tougher than getting your visa renewed. It sounds like to get a
Yeah,
job.
exactly.
And your dad
Yeah,
is like, listen, man, if I
yeah.
get defeated by your mom's food, you gonna get defeated by your. Good luck.
Yeah, taking me down with you. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you
how's
you've
it
been
been there?
you've been posting some tasty ass meals. Like I don't even know
I
what's
know.
in some of them, but I'm down. I was like,
Yeah,
that could be me.
I'm getting replies saying, I might have to block you now. Like, especially like Indians living in the US, like we always hate this, and people go back and put up stuff that we can't have right now.
Uh-huh.
It's the worst.
Yeah, and I feel like
So,
there's so many different types of Indian food. Like there's
yeah,
so there's so many. Like when I go to Indian restaurant out here and I see your photos, like I don't even see the stuff here that you're posting.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
there's a hidden menu that you're like
Yeah, because
giving
it's
me
like
access
there's
to.
like there's so many states. There's upwards of, depending on who you ask, there's like upwards of 25 different states, and every state has their own thing going on, and can be really different from every other state. But when you go to the US and you see these Indian restaurants,
Mhm.
they're trying to make the maximum buck, right? So they're not trying to go into niche, sub cuisines. They're trying to make like a generic Indian cuisine that most people can have, like, and even non-Indians can have. So, but it's changing a
How do
little
they?
bit now, especially in LA.
Yeah. How do they know we won't want the niche shit?
Yeah, I know. Like
Who
Indians are not
decided that?
that. Yeah, Indians are not that risk happy. They're pretty risk averse, so they're trying to play it safe. But it's changing a bit now. I think I'll hook you up with some nice LA
All
actual
right.
Indian stuff next
All right.
time. Yeah,
All right,
and you'll
good.
like it too. A lot of it is vegetarian, vegan. So
No, I love Indian food. It's one of my go-tos whenever I travel to get something
yeah, right.
vegan that I would like. And
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have Indian people in Jamaica, so there's certain things
Oh
that we
yeah, yeah,
similar. So it's like,
yeah,
uh, you know, we have curry chicken that we cook. We have curry things that we cook,
yeah,
and we get, we
yeah,
just it's Jamaican food, but it's from India.
yeah,
But it's our version.
yeah,
So
yeah.
uh, before you got on, I was just going
Yeah,
down.
what's going on?
I was just going down the table. I talked about Arsenal dropping points. I talked
Yeah.
about like which game do I think, or does anybody think Man City enjoyed this weekend? The one they played against Sheffield, or the one Arsenal played against Leeds Southampton? And then I just got to Newcastle and I was giving some of their players props and how they stepped up to this level that is going to make like some like Murphy, who scored a brace versus Spurs,
Yeah,
and just Shar, and there's some players that we fully expected to go once
yeah,
the money came and the new coach. But Eddie Howe has done such a good job of like coaching some of these players up to a level that it might blind their their project into
yeah,
thinking that these players are good enough to stay when they probably need to buy players who are at the level of these guys without Eddie Howe coaching, so that Eddie Howe can coach those players to a higher level than these players are at, that they have now could ever get to. So it's a good bad thing that's happening with how good a coach Eddie Howe is for some of these players. But I feel like they're gonna have to get more Isaacs in, more Bruno Gomez is in, like players on that level.
yeah.
But how do you decide when some of these players are playing so good? Like you it might be a sin now to say Almiron is he might have to go. He's having the best season of his life.
Yeah.
Because there might be a max level that Almiron can get to compared to somebody else that they could bring in.
Yeah. I think it's, these guys aren't giving up. Like, they want to stay on that Saudi contract for a long
Mm-hmm.
time. Like, they know what's happening. Like, they know how quickly things are moving at Newcastle, and they're not willing to give up. But I think what the job that Eddie Howe has done is the owners will appreciate it, because if anything, even if they want to do these things, right, like upgrade to the next big thing, get somebody from Dortmund, for example. There's been some links to Jude Bellingham, but all these players who 12 months back, 18 months back, you were thinking of, if you have to start afresh building a squad, you have to buy everybody. First thing, you now don't have to buy everybody. And then
Don't
even the
do what
ones who
Chelsea
you
did.
buy.
Don't buy everybody.
Oh, yeah. But Chelsea never even needed to. He still did it. But in Newcastle, like 18 months back, when Howe took over, new ownership took over, you were thinking like you might have to like start afresh with a new squad. But now you don't have to do that. And if you do get a few players in, now you suddenly have these players whose values were probably like 5 million, 3 million back 18 months back. You can sell them for 30 to 40 million. They have a good, they're attractive in the market. So you're going to balance your books in a way that you just never thought you could, before How took over. So even from that point of view, I think it's really helpful for the project at Newcastle. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy the kind of job that he's done, the level that he's made some of these players reach. And it's not just a team that, because they've seen adversity too. It's not been cozy, it's not been rosy, and, all the way through the season. There's a point in there where they were drawing a lot of games, they were dropping points, and it looked like, some of the other teams like Spurs, Liverpool, maybe even Chelsea, uh, can maybe catch up to them and get that fourth spot. But they've come back and they just haven't let go of that fourth spot. So yeah, props to them. And like, this has been really impressive.
Yeah. I mean, they're third now because they played one more game than us, and we didn't play United, meaning we didn't play in the Premier League this weekend. We had some business
You're
to
supposed to
handle.
play us.
So what?
You're supposed to play us this weekend, I
Oh,
think.
Chelsea. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's
That's
interesting.
been rescheduled, I think, sometime in May now.
Oh, damn. So,
Yeah.
so you didn't play this weekend. So you might be down the table because you didn't play, or you didn't drop points. You're good.
Who's looking at the table? Like, I don't know a single Chelsea fan who's even looking at the table. So it
Don't
really
worry,
doesn't matter.
I'll look for you. I got you. I got you, Neil. I got you.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I guess we can move on to Man United, and we'll just talk about Man United in the context of the FA Cup. We didn't play in the Premier League this weekend. We played Brighton, Hove, and to me, Brighton, Hove were the favorites. I didn't see the game. I watched the highlights. I've listened to a lot of on the way to Coachella and just getting ready to go during the days. I would listen to like what happened, and it sounded like we didn't play a good game, and but we got to penalties. And some people are impressed that we scored 6 penalties in a row, but we're good at penalties. We against Sevilla, we scored 10 penalties in the shootout, and it was our goalkeeper that didn't miss, and their goalkeeper. So we're good at penalties. So if you're gonna come at Man U in a penalty shootout, be ready, because we it's not. And that was under Solskjaer. We went to extra time against Sevilla and went to all the starting player penalties. So, or all the players on the pitch penalties. So, I was kind of shocked, but then I remembered that, and I was like, "Yeah, we could hold our own in a shootout." And now we're even better under Ten Hag. So yeah, but I'm glad we got through. It was a rough week, losing to Sevilla 3-0. They just dumped on us,
Mm.
and we did not look good up there. And I'm on the road hearing this shit, and I'm like, thank God I'm traveling and I can't podcast because I don't have to talk about it. So I escaped that podcast. Martin, sent a shot in the group chat. I saw it.
Oh, he's always sending shots.
Yeah, he's always sending shots. I see you, Martin. But, you know, if you don't have anything to say about United, we could just move right on to, speaking of shots, Tottenham's performance or lack of performance against Newcastle and your thoughts.
I mean, we just spoke about Newcastle, right? So
Mhm.
banter aside, I
No
because
ban aside.
like their entire season has been built on having the best defense in the Premier League. So I was expecting a very attritional kind of game, but I think Tottenham just didn't know what hit them. Like they were a lot of those goals, they weren't the best, most clear cut chances. There was like a long range shot. They were obviously a couple of them were really well worked moves and pretty much walked the ball into the net, but some of them were like the defense looked shell shocked, keeper looked shell shocked. So um, yeah, I think it is one of those games where you've seen the way Tottenham has been kind of they've they've had a decent season despite all the problems that they've had with the manager.
That's
So,
what I want to get to. That's what I want to get to.
but I think like a performance like this was coming because they've been kind of like this drunk man getting out of the bar and somehow trying to get home, and they've been falling a little, picking themselves up, and somehow staggering and getting home almost there. But you
Mhm.
always knew there was one big fall due at any moment, and I think that's what happened. Um, I hear that they've now gotten rid of the assistant, and
He's fired.
now
Delaney's
he's
fired.
fired, right? Is that
It's
official or is that just a rumor?
official. But
He's official.
the minute the fourth goal went in, fired.
So who's now the manager?
It's gonna be your boy. I think it's gonna be your ex-player who did it before.
Enrique?
No,
Who?
what's the guy who had the head injury that used to play for Chelsea, and he's a coach at Spurs, and he coached them, I think, before Conte got there for a little bit, in between.
Head injury. And
What
Ryan
is,
Mason.
yeah, the youngest coach. Maybe he was the youngest coach in
Oh, he's not a Chelsea player.
where is he at?
No, I think he's just a Tottenham player, and he's been on their staff for a while now. He did the
No,
interim coach
no, but I
thing.
think he was a Chelsea player.
Ryan Mason, Chelsea, maybe back in the day. I don't know.
See if you could look that up.
I'll look it up.
I'm on two screens right now, and I'm scared to move it
Yeah,
because I just listened
maybe
to.
back in the day.
Yeah, he was like a youth player with Chelsea, and he got
Oh yeah, yeah,
and he
right,
got a
right.
head injury in a game, and then somehow he ended up on the Spurs coaching staff. But he's Cobra, bro, through and through.
I don't think so. I think you're mistaking him for Ryan Bertrand.
No, I know Bertrand. So Mason. So, but did you see that
See, I'm
Mason?
I'm looking I'm looking at his yeah, he is the interim coach at Tottenham now. That's so
Right.
funny. But yeah, I'm looking at his profile. He was at Tottenham all the way through his youth career,
Oh, okay. Maybe I messed up.
and then
Never
he
played for
played for
Chelsea.
Tottenham for like never played for Chelsea, but he has a very Chelsea-like career. Maybe that's why you got confused because he's been on a million loans
Oh,
while he's playing.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. So he never played for
He's
Chelsea?
no, never played for Chelsea,
Oh
but
my bad.
I think his career had to end pretty early at the age of like 26, 27 because of the injury. So
Yeah, he got a head injury. Yeah. So cause you know what? This is where I messed up. He got a head injury versus Chelsea. And
oh
So
Possibly, yeah.
that's what happened. And his skull got kind of messed up in a certain places. But what he did say on the podcast was that John Terry, the captain of England, came to visit him, and the accident wasn't with him and Willian. And recently he saw Willian and said, "Why did you come to visit me?" Because he like, and because he hadn't spoke, he didn't even know they came. Their family, his family, he was unconscious. His family
Oh,
told him
okay.
they came. So he's just always liked those guys because they took the time out. And also Conti came to visit him too. That's why I linked it. Like that's what it was.
Okay.
So he's just
All
in the
right.
podcast, he just mentioned how these people came to visit him when he was unconscious. And he only knows they came to visit him because he saw the pictures and
After.
his family keep saying that these are top people and they didn't have to pull up. Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
All right. Correction.
Yeah.
So listen, a lot of people are going in on Dan Levy about firing Conte. So why would you? And the press is hilarious. They say things they know the answer to. Why would you fire Conte if you don't have a backup? Because you
Yeah.
had to fire Conte because of what he said. He gave, listen, Dan Levy might not be perfect, but he doesn't mess up all the time. Like Spurs is way further financially and profile as a team with Dan Levy than they ever were before. So he's done things right. They got a brand new stadium. Their biggest trophy, they had two big trophies that are not real trophies. But for Spurs, they're trophies. Like I always say, that Spurs being one of the teams selected to start to be in the Super League is one of their biggest trophies. A team that's won nothing being put on a shelf in a space where with a bunch of teams that's all won something. So for them to be selected Spurs as one of the Super League teams, that's an accomplishment. That's an
Yeah.
accomplishment. And it wouldn't have been that without Dan Levy. And the stadium is the other thing. So he's definitely helped their profile, but you know, he might have to go because they got to win, you know, and they're going to the Champions League final and not winning it is their other trophy. Like, you know, for Spurs, you know, there was
I
one
mean,
time when they were supposed to come second in the league and they came third. So to come second with only in a 2-horse race is an actual accomplishment for Spurs. What were you gonna say?
like all the trophies are like something that they did not do. Like, and
Yeah.
but I, I mean, the whole Conte thing, he kind of forced that on the club, right? Like,
Yeah.
even though it's probably not the most optimal thing to happen because he had been criving about the club for like a couple of months before that anyway, and still managed, and still got a few results out there. So it could have possibly worked, but yeah, I guess when you have an employee who's just openly shitting on you, and because he took aim at the owners too, it wasn't just he wasn't just talking about the players of the club. He took aim at the owners too. I think it's just untenable at that point. You have to do something. You have to, um, but yeah, the thing about the backup is the problem that Tottenham have been in is they've wanted a few of these managers, but those managers have not wanted them. So it wasn't it's not like you can have a couple of interviews and then pick your choice of who you want next. It's not easy. Like Chelsea, we're going through that too. Like it's not easy. Like just get the manager that you want next. So um, yeah, the- I guess they just have to get through the season now. Like anything can happen. They can get top four and not even get top six. But yeah, I think they'll. I think that's most likely to happen. They'll finish in that fifth or sixth spot. But they somehow have to get through the season. Harry Kane has to score in almost every game, and get them through.
He scored this weekend, but it didn't help.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But he'll score in enough games that will help them, cross the line. He he's
Maybe.
that reliable. He's that
Listen, when you
reliable.
bring it on Davis and Sanchez, to help save a game. It's the same player they brought off last week to help save a game just by getting them away from the football and the pitch and the defense. You're in trouble. And I'm not, shitting on Davies. I'm just saying. So there's a few realizations I've had recently about Spurs. One of the realizations is, like, I finally understand what Conte was talking about. Like, when Conte was trashing Spurs leading up to him getting fired, I would still think, like, they spent money, though. They gave him some money. So why is he complaining like that? And so there's a lot of misperception about Spurs. First of all, when they win, they play so bad, it feels like they lost. So you can't, like, erase the loss, even though it's a win. So I've never seen fans complain about a team that won and was in fourth place ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's a misperception there of, like, where they are in the table. Firing Conte, you had to do that. Making Stellini the assistant coach, the coach, is like, because when you fire somebody, you fire them because what they're doing isn't working. But that's not why they fired Conte. This was completely a specific, unique reason. He hit on the club. So you're not firing Conte because you didn't win. You're firing him because it was on the performances, because what he said, but because the performances did not look great, and the performances are usually why you fire people. People associated his firing with performance, but it's not. So then you hire Stellini, who's had actually good record when Conte had a gallbladder operation and he stepped in. So now you say, why did you make Stellini the guy? But it makes perfect sense. He's actually had a better record percentage-wise with Spurs than goddamn Conte, who still had the team in the top four. So you get that guy.
And also for continuity, I think that makes perfect sense. If you have somebody from the, as you said, in this case, it wasn't even performances. So why not just, like, go ahead with the guy? In fact, I don't even understand why they're sacking him now. What did they expect to happen and really change in these last 7 or 8 games? You had a bad result. It's fine. It doesn't. That
It
shouldn't
happens for
really.
everyone.
It's one game.
Yeah. But it's because of the misperception of, like, when you're in something, you don't see it. So you just do what you normally do. Like, they forgot that they fired Conte for some shit that he said and not because of performance. So then now when they have a bad performance, they fired his assistant because everybody's been shitting on the assistant anyway. So it's like, it's just, they misperceived in their whole situation. And then here's the biggest misperception. And I don't know if I said it early on a podcast with you, but for some reason,
also, then if they're with Ryan Mason, now they've had the assistant's assistant. So, because Ryan Mason was on the staff while Stellini was the manager. So you've gone from the head coach to the assistant to now the assistant. So you're kind of admitting that you like what's happening with the whole managerial setup, like the coaching at Tottenham this season. You just want a different guy doing press conferences every week.
And you know
what? Is going to stay the same.
But they should like what they seen because they're fifth. And listen, Spurs forgot. Fifth was great 5 years ago, 10 years ago, at least. Fifth. But like you said, like, listen, I'm kind of disagree as far as, like, Ryan Mason being an assistant, his style. I'm not sure his style is going to be exactly like Conte's because he has a different style. He was he was there before them. So whatever he was doing before, he might try to like mix his style with their style. So I don't know what he's gonna do. But like you said, this is where they let people's dislike for Stellini motivate them to fire him when you, like you said, it's just a bad result. Man United, we've had we took a 7 at Anfield. We still got our coach. Man, you know what I'm saying? Man City pummeled us. Like we still got our coach. It's like this happens. I was watching this game. I was like, there's nothing. They made a special problem with this game when this happens to a lot of teams all season, every season since football has started.
I think only reason it makes sense is, well, of course, if Delaney also has had problems with the dressing room, we don't know that, right? Like maybe if there is something in terms that we don't know, he's probably beefing with some of these senior players and stuff, somebody in the locker room, or maybe even the ownership, right? So maybe in that case, it kind of makes sense. The other reason it would make sense to me is if they're really close on hiring that next manager. And if somebody has said that, hey, it's okay, I'll take charge for the last couple of games so that I can get to know these players and start prepping for the summer. I don't think that's likely, but maybe they're very, very close to securing a signature. I've heard Luis Enrique is their top candidate, and yeah, that might happen. And he's a top coach. He's somebody I wanted to be Chelsea manager. So if they're close to securing his signature, I think in that case it maybe makes sense. I'm trying here.
I think this is some Game of Thrones shit. It's like,
yeah,
like, hey, we had a bad result. The fans are upset with this whole season. We got to give them something. Bring me Stellini's head, because everybody wanted that. So let's give them at least that. To like, it's the ginger you take when you're about to switch the type of sushi you're about to eat. You want to clean your palate. And I was like, they used him, they treated him like ginger, bro. Yeah. Just go to Aston Villa. There's not much to say except that they're 6th. They have 51 points. Unai Emery, who's English, is horrendous. I guess it must be getting better. And they're 6th. They got 51 points. They're having a phenomenal season since Gerrard left, and like the turnaround, same players. They probably added 2 different guys, but when I watch them, for the most part, it's the team Lampard was using, and different results. And Gerrard, I keep mixing them up. I did that in the clip that we posted today.
Yeah.
So but yeah, man, this is Unai Emery, man, and I think we talked about this, like the top 6 is about to get bigger because Unai Emery gets some money, and a preseason, Aston Villa is going to be add Aston Villa to the problems that everybody in the top 4 already going to have.
Yeah,
because they just got their shit together in January, and look what they did with just January to now. So
yeah, I mean, I remember there was a game, one of Potter's last game at Chelsea. We were playing Aston Villa, and Aston Villa was like, I think we were 9th and they were 10th, or we were 10th and they were 11th or something like that.
mm-hmm.
And they beat us, and now they're 6th since then. They're on 61 points. We're still on 39.
Damn.
And this is not that long back. This was, I'm talking like a month ago, maybe, or maybe a month and a half at the most. So it's it's remarkable how they've just kept getting those 3 points and going up the ladder.
Yeah, the only stall that they had this weekend was like they tied with Brentford, but last week they beat the Newcastle team that pounded Spurs this week. And I'm happy about Newcastle beating Spurs because it drops Spurs further behind us and gives us a chance of finishing in the top 4. Newcastle may or may not finish ahead of us, but they helped us like stay in the top 4 and giving us more space between breathing room, yeah. But Villa, super impressive. Liverpool won. They beat Nottingham Forest 3-2. but they look good and shaky, which has been their season. You know, it's like there's moments when the good Liverpool for this season showed up, and there's moments when the bad Liverpool for this season shows up, and it's still up to Klopp to next season get this all together. I know Curtis Jones is playing better. Like I can see where they could have a midfield at some point, maybe next season, with Curtis Jones, Bicetic, and who else? Elliott. And then if they could get like two workhorses from somewhere and
Mm.
mix up their midfield, because there's a lot of quality there. And that's the problem with Tottenham. When I was looking at like why is Conte mad at this team? There's no back in the day. Here's the other piece of perception. I'm going to jump from Liverpool to Tottenham back. The problem here's a major perception to me, and I just really realized this. So I'm feeling other people might have not realized this. Is because Son and Kane went to the Champions League final with Spurs, and I think because they're still on the team, I feel like it's the same Spurs team. So why are they doing worse? But it's not the same Spurs team. It's a completely
Okay.
changed Spurs team that feels like it's the same Spurs team. So their results seem weird to us. But besides Lloris and Dyer, who has the type of career where one season he plays good, one season he plays bad, or half season he plays good and half season he plays bad, depending on the coach.
Yeah.
There, there's no Walker, there's no Kieran Dyer, there's no Ericsson, there's no
It's not
Deli
Smith
Ali.
or
Right. Like, and I watched some Deli Ali highlights the other day, and it just hit me how good he was. It just
yeah.
hit me. And the guys that they have now, all in the midfield and on the wings, not even close. This is a completely different team, except for maybe four guys. But because it was not so long ago, it seems like it's the same. But again, it's perception. This is a completely different team. And Conti going there, he could tell that. And I couldn't tell it until weeks after he left, hit what he said, stumbling on some highlights and seeing the huge difference and realizing that's what he was arguing about. So I get it, Conti. You were right.
Yeah, Liverpool, I haven't seen their games, but I've been reading that Klopp has kind of within that 4-3-3 system, he's kind of changed things a little bit where Trent is playing more as an inverted fullback.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think that's genius. I think that's the move that needed to happen. I would go even further, saying like have Trent move permanently into midfield, but even if you can have him playing as an inverted fullback, give him more support from the centre back, and get him into positions where Trent does what Trent does best, and you aren't exposing what he doesn't do as well on the defensive side, on the awareness side. But yeah, I think that can really help this team go up another level. And it's good to see a coach like Klopp, who I think there's been a criticism that he doesn't really change things a lot. He's very stubborn in his ways, and um, isn't gonna, regardless of results, isn't really gonna change a lot of things. But even at this, the amount of experience he has and credit in the bank that he has at Liverpool, he's still, he's trying to improve. He's always trying to change things. Um, and it looks like it's working. I think this is the best Liverpool have played, at least on a consistent basis. They've had a couple of games now, they've been good. So I think this is gonna really help Liverpool, not just this season, because I think with the Newcastle result, like you said, there's probably a little bit of breathing room from the
Mm-hmm.
top four now. So I don't think even Liverpool can get in that, but maybe they can get top six. They can secure top six, and it really helps them for next season. It helps the recruitment. Now they have a good um, style, profile of player that they know that they want the style of play. So uh, so yeah, I think this is exactly what a lot of teams like Tottenham, Chelsea, who are faltering this season, having up and down season. Well, in Chelsea's case, just up and down. But you're looking for some sort of spark towards the end of the season to give you hope for next season. Our teams haven't had that. I think Liverpool has that right now. But yeah, let's see. It'll be interesting. It's still in its early stages, so it'll be interesting to see what the results are for the rest of the season.
Yeah, they should be motivated just to fight to stay out of the Conference League. It's
Yeah,
disrespectful for Liverpool to be in that. So they should fight, and they should be able to get a Europa League. Yeah, they got to fight Aston Villa and Spurs for a Europa League spot, and Brighton Hove, they got to fight them too, because Brighton Hove got games in hand. They got
yeah.
like two games in hand. So yeah, they got, is like Liverpool in the Conference League it's almost like that's a relegation. That's
Hey, I'd take the Conference League right now
you would?
because that made me fun. Yeah, because that made me finally win some games.
Damn. It hasn't been that long since you won something for you to want to win that. Like you have to.
I don't remember the last time we won a game. I don't remember the last time we scored a goal. It's been bad.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, you do need the reps and the games with all the players you got. So let me just go to Fulham real quick. I think they won this weekend, from what I saw. So they're keeping it moving without Mitrovic, and they're in ninth with 45 points. And then Brentford, they tied with Villa this weekend. So that two teams going head to head like that are on that level. But I think Villa has definitely passed them. They just didn't get the win. But that was Brentford has 44 points. We'll go to Chelsea, and there's something I want to ask you about Chelsea. Chelsea's 12th with 39 points.
12.
And you didn't
You're
play.
Not 11th anymore?
No, because you didn't play, and some people got points. It could have been. Let me see who.
10.
Brentford.
Probably Palace.
So what?
Who's 11th now?
No, you're 11th. Chelsea's 11th. My bad. I moved. Let me put the glass. I had to move the computer because I'm charging it. So let me try this. Okay, you're 11th with 39 points. Yeah. But what
don't take our 11th position away from us. We worked hard for that.
I mean, you didn't work hard for it. That's the problem. You didn't work hard at all. That's why you're there.
Hard-earned 39 points. You're still 1 point away from safety.
Hilarious. So how do you feel about these Pochettino rumors?
I don't think it's a rumor anymore. I think it's
Right.
more or less confirmed because Matt Law has come out and he's always been the definitive voice on Chelsea matters. And interestingly, he also is on the Tottenham beat. So, I don't think you can get more reliable a source than Matt Law. And he's also talking about the backroom staff that Pochettino is going to have at Chelsea. And when that happens, that means the announcement is almost around the corner. Like it's at a very advanced stage now. So yeah, it's gonna be Pochettino. Um, he wasn't my first choice or even my second or third choice, I guess. But yeah, I'm conflicted. On one hand, this is a manager who's had a good record of building a team and progressing them in the Premier League, which is, I guess, where we are at right now. Because as a Chelsea fan, you keep thinking about getting somebody who can take you to win a title, compete for a title, get back into competing in Europe. But I guess where we are at right now, we are probably not ready for doing any of those things anyway. So,
And I think that's good.
Pochettino,
I think that's good. It's not because I'm a Man U fan, right? Yeah. I think so. There's a lot of things to unpack, and I know you didn't even finish, but I was like, how do I remember this point? It's like 3 points from some of the things you said. So I'll just say the first thing that I remember. I feel like just the same way when Everton appointed Sean Dyche, like I didn't think, there's no guarantee that he will save them. But when you talk about matchings and pairings and what wine to eat or drink with a meal, Sean Dyche is perfect for Everton. This guy, Pochettino, is perfect for Chelsea, based on some of the shit that you just said. You know, you got a bunch of young players. He's good with young people. Also, I think there's this perception thing from Spurs that applies to him. We all forget that he won the league in France. He's coached Messi, Neymar. He's coached Neymar and Messi and Mbappe. He has so much more to him now. And this is the right time and the right team with the right bunch of new players that they brought in. And I just think he'll get this thing up to speed. It may not be at Abramovich Chelsea pace, but he's the Graham Potter you wanted in the first place. That new, young, up-and-coming, fresh guy, but with way more experience, way more credentials. And the fact that people ignore some of his credentials is fucking perfect. It's perfect. So that when he hits and hits hard, the weight that you guys took to get there will be like respected on the level that it should be.
I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying. You know, we kind of have to recognize and realize that we are not the Chelsea of even 12 months ago, where or like 18 months ago, where we're winning the World Club Cup, the Club World Cup. We were in the title race till December when the injuries hit. We're top of the table, and we were giving Real Madrid the toughest tie in the last Champions League. We were in the two domestic cup finals and losing out on penalties. We're probably a team right now because this new ownership has done some crazy things, like starting from the sacking of Tuchel. They've taken us back so much that now just being a top four or maybe even a top six team seems like aspirational. And yeah, I think if those are your aspirations to be a top four team, then a manager like Pochettino probably makes sense because yeah, he can get you that kind of stability. He can, take you further up the table. Um, I just didn't think that is gonna be the ceiling of what we were expecting at Chelsea. But I think the realization is hitting that. Hey, don't try and run before you can walk. You've been stat. You're not even crawling right now. So, Pochettino. The one thing I will say is that um, it's gonna be tough for him because of the whole Spurs link. I don't think a lot of fans are gonna be on board right away, um, and especially when the match going fans, who feel the heat of the rivalry probably a little bit more because they have to like live it every week. Mauricio Pochettino better come to Chelsea and hit the ground running and start doing
He's
things
not
right
though.
away.
He's not. That's you guys got to
Well,
be.
in that case, no. In that case, that's a bad move by the
Not a
ownership
bad move.
because
You guys are spoiled. Not you, but those fans are spoiled. And listen, man, is this guy could be one of your greatest coaches ever for a long ass time. Like everybody makes mistakes, and the fans can't make the mistake of exactly what you just said. I don't even want to repeat it. It's like, first of all, there's two things you said that I want to poke fun at. Number one, counting the World Club trophy as a trophy is hilarious. The World Club title only counts. But let me just.
right. No,
it only counts.
But it's a recognition of the fact that you were Champions League winners.
Yeah,
not the part of
League, the Champions League is a recognition that you're Champions League winning. The World Club title only counts if you lose it. That's the weird thing about that trophy. It only counts if you're supposed to win it. If you go there, you don't win it, then that's the shit people bring up. But you won it. It's like, It's like, and number two.
No, but I brought that up because it kind of it's an indication of where you were at. You got there because you were lifting the biggest trophy in club football, less than 24 months ago. So it wasn't like we've been a team that's been down and out. We were an elite team, an elite club, not that far back. It's just this new ownership has taken us so far down.
I get that, but I never forgot that. But I always just base it on the whoever wins the Champions League is the World Club. To me, is like I'm disgusted still. I was thinking about it this weekend for some reason about the time United didn't win it.
Yeah, Chelsea didn't win it too. Back in 2013.
What do you remember more about the World Club title? Not winning it or winning it?
Well, I remember the winning it too a lot because that completed the set. This is the only trophy that we hadn't won, and it also made a nice little bow on the whole Abramovich era. So now everything was won. As Brungardt lifted it, but anyway, like my point was that this isn't the Chelsea before this new ownership took over that you're thinking of like being down and out. We were near the top, maybe not at the top, but we were we're not that far away.
Mm-hmm.
But now we've taken so many backward steps that even becoming a top 4 or top 16 now feels aspirational, where I think Pochettino can help. But what I'm saying about Pochettino and the match-going fans is it's not about, this could be any other matcher, right? This could be even somebody like Unai Emery, or who else? We're talking about Nagelsmann as being one of the guys. I think just the fact that he's an ex-Spurs guy is gonna hurt him when it comes to the margin of error that you need, the little bit of leniency you need when things are not going well. He's not gonna get that. That's the hard reality of things.
It's a hard reality, but it's a mistake. It's a huge mistake.
But that's fandom, right? Like you can't legislate for something like this. Is the same thing. You remember I was talking to you about Lukaku, that if he comes back, he better be in the golden boot running right away, else fans are going to shit on him so much. It's kind of like that with Pochettino.
And I get that. I get all that, but it's a mistake. It's like I can get it, and I can disagree with it. It's a mistake. 100%.
Yeah.
Like there's Pochettino has never failed. He's never failed. No matter what people say.
We just spoke about him being third in the 2-horse race. Yeah, that's failure.
But that's also winning. Where was Spurs before that? They never even came. He's never failed. Even in his worst moments, he's never failed. He didn't fail at Spurs. He got them to the Champions League final. He didn't fail, and he came third in the league. He didn't fail at PSG.
He lost a league to Lille. I don't think you're supposed to do that when you're in the French league. He lost a league title to Lille.
I think Tuchel lost it too. I think Unai Emery.
Tuchel was 1 point behind when they sacked him in December. So that isn't losing the league.
I know, but it comes off as he lost the league because why are you firing the guy who
Tuchel again, like he was fired not really for performances, right?
But listen, he's also Pochettino's won the league, bro. He's won.
Yeah, hey, I'm saying like he's probably not for where we are right now as a club. He's probably not the worst choice. I'm just saying there's like so many ways that I can see this going wrong.
No, the fans would be wrong to not give this guy time. He's a winner.
No, they'll give him time, but this is gonna happen. The moment we hit a little bit of a rough patch, he's gonna be called Spursy. It's gonna be called Spursy. He's gonna be called the Spurs guy.
That's not gonna help y'all. That's not gonna help y'all. And so I listen.
It's
we both
unavoidable.
Agree. It's unavoidable, but it's wrong. And this is me trying to help out Chelsea fans. It's unavoidable, but it's wrong. First of all, y'all niggas is 11th. You have no right to say shit. You're fucking
That
11th.
is true.
Brentford is
That is
ahead of
true.
you. Like you said, you are not the Chelsea team from 12 months ago. So to be coming in with your Tottenham is having an awful season, and they're 6 paces ahead of you. There's no way those fans. Yeah, I'm Spursy. You'd wish Chelsea was Spursy right now and 5th. You'd wish, you'd wish Spurs. You'd wish Chelsea just took a 6-1 ass whooping from Newcastle, because that would mean you'd be 5th. But you're not. So Chelsea fans, calm the fuck down. I get it, but calm the fuck down. I just got to keep this thing moving because we got to bounce. But this is, we could stay here forever. I love this. I love it. Because
I just don't know why they couldn't go in with a clean slate, man. Like, just get somebody who.
It's not real, Neil. It's not real. Like you said, that's not the reality. It's not the reality, bro.
Yeah.
I think
I get it.
Yeah. I feel they give this guy a chance. The rest of the league will have to worry about him 2 years from now.
I'll be here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good choice. Crystal Palace, I think they tied. Let me just make sure that they tied. Roy Hudson's 4th game. Yeah, they tied with Everton. And Sean, and let me just say something. I didn't say it last week. Crystal Palace. So Roy Hudson has probably got 10 points out of 4 games. But again, it's the easy part of the schedule. Patrick Vieira would have probably got the same amount of points. You're not going to tell me you fired the coach after he went from the hardest part of the season, and Roy Hudson comes in and he's a better coach at this point of his age than Patrick Vieira. You're not. Every time Crystal Palace wins, I'm saying Patrick Vieira would have done that at this part of the schedule. I'm sticking to that. And you can't prove me wrong because you're fired. So this hypothetical stays alive for me. So you're 12th with 37 points. I know West Ham fans, they're like, how do we get rid of this guy? And that guy is David Moyes, because he just won again.
Dude, yeah, he's a survivor. Like, he's the ultimate cockroach. He will not let go.
Because they hated him. Then he won in the Conference League in Europe. And then, so where are they now? I never pull up the, so are they the semifinals? They in the quarter, like where?
Yeah. I think they're in the semifinals now.
Yeah, they're in the semifinal. So it's like, this guy, we hate him. We want him gone.
Let me check real quick. But I think they're in the semifinal.
While you look for it, I'll just say, because I hear people calling up sports talk, and they're like, we want him out. They were upset last week when he won. They called the Conference League a farmers league because that's how much they hate Moyes.
Yeah, the semifinal. Yeah.
Semifinal. And
they play AZ Alkmaar.
I want them to win it all. I'm rooting for. I'm a West Ham fan because I know David Moyes winning will piss them off. I'm a West Ham fan. Yeah. I'm Moyes all the way, baby.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to get relegated and they don't want to lose, but they want to get rid of Moyes. And sometimes clubs are in this position, and it's funny to watch fans. Like, they lose if they win, and they lose if they lose. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, we're in the similar case with Potter. Like, some fans are like, you know what? Maybe we should lose this next game. Like, why is this taking so long for us to get rid of
it? Because he's winning.
Well, in our case, it was easy.
Yeah, exactly. Wolves, let me check their score again. I think, what did Wolves do? I saw the highlights. That's not Premier League. This is Premier League. Oh, this is Premier League. Where's the Wolves score at? I think they tied. I don't see it. What did I just watch? Oh yeah, Leicester. They lost to Leicester, so Leicester got to win. That's what it was. Yeah, they lost to Leicester. Leicester played Vardy. He won a penalty, and and just go down Bournemouth. They got 33 points. Like Bournemouth, they lost, but they won until they lost this weekend. They'd won 5 out of their last 9 games. So it's going to be tough to relegate them. I like this coach. I like what he's doing. He's a promoted assistant coach, and I want Bournemouth to stay up because of this guy. I like watching him figure this out, and make his team do things that are impossible, and then sometimes do what people expect and lose, and then have to readjust and recalibrate and try to make it work. But I hope Bournemouth stay up. I don't love Leeds as much as I used to since they fired Jesse Marsch. I'm like, I feel bad for the American players there, but only one of them's on loan because McKinney is not signed. He's on loan, so he can go back to Germany. And like I said, Leicester won. So they got 28 points at 17th. Everton got their 18th. They're in the relegation zone, 28 points. But they tied this weekend. Nottingham Forest, good valiant fight versus Liverpool, but you couldn't hang for the entire 90. So you lost. You got 27 points, you're 19th. And we're almost, what are you going to wear to Southampton's funeral 6 games from now? Well, and have written speech? I want to hear your Southampton speech, like funeral speech.
They should have won that game versus Arsenal. I think they'll be kicking themselves because that's suddenly the problem is they haven't been getting these 3 points. They've had a few draws, and of course there's been losses, but they badly need a few 3 points. And they did the hard work. They're 3-1 up, a couple of minutes to go. I think Ruben, what's his name? Ruben Celes, he must have been thinking, well, all right, that's this is my one of those 3 points that's gonna keep me up. And he just, but I think I really like Southampton in this season. In a lot of I think this Ruben Celes guy, I think he's decent. I think some of the players they have, Lavia, I think he's been one of the revelations of the season. And I don't know if they're going to be able to hold on to him for much longer. I like Bella Kocha, but it's just not been working for them. I think they really messed up with the whole Nathan Jones appointment, and they wasted a whole bunch of months with a good quality set of players, but just in the hands of the wrong manager. I think if they either kept Hasenhuttl or gone in for a better manager other than Nathan Jones right then, I think they would have been up. Because this is not really that bad a team. Like you see them play on a week-to-week basis. It's not like they play. I would suggest Chelsea plays worse than Southampton a lot of weeks.
Nah. You're being harsh because you're a Chelsea fan. You have high standards.
No, because I think Southampton, like, they get a lot of things wrong. They show a lot of drive and passion on the pitch. They don't look absolutely tactically aloof against some of these teams, but they don't have goal scorers, so that hurts them. They don't get the goals. I think they're the only team worse than us when it comes to goals in the season.
That's one of the things you two have in common, 100%.
Yeah. So, I feel bad for Southampton. Not that because they've flirted with relegation in the past. So it isn't that you're coming this season and you know for sure Southampton's not going to be under threat. But I feel this season with this group of players, it's a little harsh on them that the fact that they're going down.
I feel like
And they are going down.
if they are right. Yeah, it looks like.
I think they are. I mean, yeah, I think they're going down now.
Well, get your speech ready. Yeah. Not your fault. You ain't do it. They're 4 points.
Yeah, we tried our best. We gave them 6 points.
Right. Yeah.
We did everything possible to keep them
You
up.
contributed to the Salvation Fund, and you know, they just couldn't get other people to donate as many as they would like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's rough down there, bro. It's not looking good. But they had a chance to get 3 points from a game they thought they was going to get no points. And they ended up with 1 point, which is still one more than they expected, just period. And and they're 4 points away from 17th, which is safety. And they're 5 points away from 16th, which is safety. It's 6 games left, and you have to play them out. But, you know, now the relegation zone has, the relegation candidates or nominees have shrunken to a small group of like
9.
From 9 to like pretty much, let's say 5 teams now. And that's where it's like, you know, now like hope is like, this is, you know, you ever seen like Indiana Jones or one of those movies where they're in an ancient place and somebody steps on something or pushes a rock on the wall and the wall starts closing in and then the ceiling starts coming down with spikes? That's where Southampton is now. And they have to figure out a way to get out of this trap. And the walls are going to keep closing. So let's see how they deal with that. Now, there's this one question about Chelsea I forgot to ask you. So I'm going to ask you now before we bounce. So I didn't hear it, but I'm sure you did. You probably heard it before he even said it. What did Thiago Silva say this week? Or last week?
He said, he basically took shot at the owners, saying that, you know, they've taken the first step. He's referring to the Tuchel sack. And he said, you know, they've taken the first step and it was the wrong step. But now we just have to figure it out. And, you know, you can't keep blaming the manager every week. The players also have to take responsibility. And, you know, we brought in so many players. That's not the way you build a squad. So next season, we need to, you know, not do some of these mistakes. Others will be in the same position again next season. So, yeah, he pretty much spoke what a lot of fans have been saying, a lot of, you know, pundits have been saying. But it's good to see somebody in the squad actually saying it out in public. Mm-hmm. So the owners know that, hey, you know, your own players aren't really on board. And it's only actually Thiago Silva who could say that, because he's the only guy at Chelsea who has the stature of being this world-class player for however many years. He's not, you know, it doesn't really matter to him what the owners think of him right now, because, he might as well, you know, he's not obligated to be nice to them.
Right.
Being on these 1-year contracts. So yeah, I'm really happy he said what he said. There aren't a lot of leaders. This team hasn't shown a lot of character, but it's good to see somebody like Thiago Silva speak up. Because if any other person in the team had said it, you can also point the finger kind of them, hey, but you know what? You should just shut up and do your work. But you can't say that to Thiago Silva.
Yeah, because even if Thiago Silva has a bad game, he should have a bad game. He's 49. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and he's playing for you because it's your fault. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You own the team, so you got a 49-year-old dude out there in the Premier League playing week after week, and that plays bad. So it's still on them. So he is the perfect person to say what he said. just one question. So he said more though. What did he say about the locker room situation?
Oh yeah, he said like there's so many players that we had to like increase the size of the locker room just to fit everybody in, and that's not an ideal way you want to play football. Like and that's where he said that you need to stop doing all of this. He literally used the word stop. Like you need to stop doing all of this and essentially course correct for next season, because if you don't stop making these mistakes, then you'll be in the same situation next season too. And then how many managers can you blame? He also said like the players also need to take some responsibility, because you see so many of these Chelsea games, you come out saying, man, we didn't play that bad,
No, you didn't.
but why can't we get any wins? Because we can't get any goals. Like it looks like it just doesn't matter right now at Chelsea. Good lineup, bad lineup, good formation, bad formation, good tactics, bad tactics, good chance creation, bad chance creation. It doesn't matter what kind of game we play. At the end of the day, we just can't score a goal.
Yeah.
So, like 4 games on the Lampard, we scored 1 goal through a deflection. And I'm pretty sure if I go back to like the Potter, I can find such dry spells. So, you know, like I kind of feel a little bad for Potter too, because
Yeah.
there was a period from January till the time he got fired until the Liverpool game, this period of 12 games. I was looking at it. Our big chance creation was actually on par with Man City. We're creating 2.5 big chances per game, which is what Man City do, and only Man City do. No other team creates big chances at such a high level. Our X, our XG was among the top 4. Our expected points was 4th in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But because our actual goal scoring is absolutely garbage, it's like 17th or 18th in the league, that eventually you don't really move up the table. Like no matter what you do, football is a game of numbers. If you can't score, you don't move up the table. So I think Pochettino, that's your first job. Get this team to score some goals.
Well, he's fine. He's got Nkunku coming in, and he's got Lukaku coming back. And this what?
Oh my god!
Lukaku is a world-class striker, bro.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to play for Chelsea, so how does it matter? He said
did he say that? When?
Well, I mean, he hasn't said that again. How many times does he need to say it? He's already said it. So,
I mean, did he say that, or y'all are fans and y'all like that's close enough?
No, yeah, that's close enough. Yeah, you're right.
See, I knew it. I knew it. Fanship.
Well, we do know that he, like at the beginning of this season, he really pushed for that move to Inter. It wasn't at Chelsea. The owners didn't want it. Tuchel wanted to go another season with him. So that was, short of actually making a public statement, that's as clear indication that you don't want to play for Chelsea. So,
I mean, what do you have in your favor?
But now Inter doesn't want him either. So
and the fans.
Like,
so that's what you got in your favor.
The fans are racist. So what's wrong with you?
Now come back to Chelsea, man. Like, listen, where the strikers at? Like in the world, you got one that you don't have to pay for. You got one on the way. Just listen, man.
Okay, this is my one hope for Pochettino. Okay, Pochettino, you want to make things good with Chelsea fans. You want us to take you seriously. Get Harry Kane on that card drive. To Cobham, get him. Don't come alone. Don't come alone. Get him.
I'm out.
Passenger seat. And then we're talking.
I mean, it could work because I even heard like a ex-Spurs player this week saying Harry Kane should leave. But what you could do is Levy would do it to exchange Lukaku for Kane. If Levy would do that, because he would want to know that he has somebody up front that could score, and if that could work out for everybody. And that's actually, you know what? I'm back in. Chips are back on the table. I'm back in. I'll play that hand with you. I'll play that
Yeah,
hand.
that'll be the kind of ruthlessness that
Mhm.
everybody's worried about with Pochettino, like that killer instinct to
Mhm.
just go and take Harry Kane from Tottenham Hotspur and put him in Chelsea. Yeah, that's the kind of like Machiavellian shit that you kind of want.
Do,
So,
do, do you think your
you know,
fans could deal with having two Spursy dudes on your team?
well, if we can take the best guys, Harry Kane. Chelsea fans, I think by and large, we like Harry Kane. Like we rate him as a player. So
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, I wonder why.
yeah,
A
yeah.
guy that can
Don't be
score.
going in and don't be going in and getting Eric Dyer. All right, like if you're gonna get Harry Kane, yes.
Hilarious.
I don't
Listen,
want any links to any other Spurs player.
I agree with you. If the fans turn on Pochettino before time because he brought in Dyer, I'm on the fan side. You brought me around. But if he doesn't do that, even if he doesn't get Kane, I say give him time. But if he gets Kane, I'm like, that's well played. And that's how you counteract what you just suggested earlier, which I wouldn't have known if I had a conversation with you. Do you think there's anything we should else talk about? Or I know they got the Arsenal
No.
Man City game midweek, but are we gonna meet after that? We're gonna pod after that, so we'll talk about that then.
Yeah. But that's
All right.
gonna be quite a game. Like, this is it. Arsenal fans, this is it.
This is it. This is like the Premier League doesn't have an NBA Finals, but
Yeah,
there's certain points in the season when
it gets like that.
there's games like that, and this is it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, get back to sleep. Sneak down to the gym while nobody's sleeping to check your papers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for joining.
My dad just woke up and he walked into the kitchen. He's like, "What's going on here? Why is there a tripod in my living room?"
So that's hilarious. Hilarious. And why are you talking about Chelsea?
Yeah. Why are you so passionate about something at 6 in the morning?
I'm on it, yeah. One thing you should be passionate
Like,
about this time is sleep, and you're doing the complete opposite.
why do you have opinions at 6 in the morning?
Yeah. Opinions should be rested at this time. Well, dope, man. Dope podcast, dope thoughts. Good talk to you. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. Take care of yourself. Spread love, man. Let's do this again midweek.
Yeah.